Hi, so it's currently July 15th, 12:06 a.m. at the time of recording, and I kind of wanted to make this video for myself, really, to reflect and, kind of check in, get back with whatever I was doing before. And so I think this video, I just want to really reflect on how this past year went, especially the school year. And right now, it's been 2 weeks. I mean, not 2 weeks, 2 months. It's 2 months into summer, and I had a lot lined up that I thought I was gonna get done. But time passes in a blink of an eye, and I told a lot of people, closer friends, and some of the closer instructors that I had, what I thought I was gonna do this summer, but clearly none of that has happened. I thought I was gonna post a lot on YouTube and maybe Instagram this summer, but that clearly didn't end up happening. And I think I just want to really reflect on myself, because keeping things on your mind doesn't really help you much. And I think that's really been holding me back. And I think I tend to make myself a victim of my problems a lot, if you will, and that kind of prevents me from taking that step forward. And I think a lot of times people might say realizing your problems and talking about them is the first step, but I really don't think so. I think first step is obviously action, and I clearly have not gone to that. So I think I want to take this video and make that change, post it, and then hopefully it resonates with some people, and hopefully it helps me get things off my mind a bit. So yeah, I mean, normally I rant to my closer friends, one from middle school and one from college, and it's mainly them two, but time zone differences, so every time I yap, it's really late at night for me, because that's when all the thoughts start coming in. But that's like first thing in the morning for them, and kind of feel bad because I don't think anybody wants to hear about depression first thing in the morning, and that's very valid, right? So I think I want to voice out my concerns, to really, I guess you could say this video is more for myself. Yeah, like I said before, I'm just trying to talk to myself. Maybe I'll see this again in the future one day, and I'll be like, wow, finally walked out of my problems. But yeah, I think I made myself a victim of a lot of my problems, and I put myself in that victim mindset where things will be taken care of as long as I'm still the victim. There will be those that will come help me take care of the situation, and that kind of puts me in a very 被动, makes me very 被动. Shoot, my English is fried. I don't know how to say this, but yeah, it makes me very 被动, and then I won't be able to, and then I don't know, I guess in that sense, it makes me incapable of doing all the things that I said I wanted to do. I had a very ambitious plan, obviously didn't play it out, and it's very bad. Mental health has not necessarily been great for me in the past, I don't know how many years. And this year has been even worse, because I'm probably in the worst physical condition I've ever been my entire life, which kind of disappointing when I look back. I used to win a lot of awards. I think I've done sports my entire life, obviously except until now, right? I used to do a lot of competitive sports, right? Track when I was in elementary, and then middle school was kind of when I shifted over to more competitive swimming, and then high school was just all swimming, water polo, And then obviously basketball, I played a lot for fun. But it's been bad. I mean, I'm going to college across the planet, right? And then I wouldn't necessarily say it's a new environment because, I've also frequented China a lot when I was younger, so I don't really think it's a new environment or a strange environment, but it's strange in the sense that, I don't really know anybody, and, I think quarantine was like the downfall of my mental health, so that's when I started becoming more and more introverted as well. And then, it just got to a point where I really didn't interact with anybody unless it was online. And also, even after online, I chose to, not really speak to anyone unless they spoke to me first, right? So that just kind of snowballed. So I really don't have many friends in college, that's for sure. And, I also, I would say it was a very underperforming year for myself. GPA is not looking good. I think it's around a 3 point, if you round it up, it's a 3.1 maybe. But it's not under a 3, which, thank God. But, I did, do a lot worse than I expected. Mainly because I think I lacked a lot of drive this year. Only because, well, not even only because, I think I lacked a lot of drive in general. Motivation was really low. Beginning of the school year, obviously I posted a lot, as, you can see on my YouTube page or Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I posted quite frequently, right? And I think it happens to me a lot, I put my mind to things, and then I do a lot of it really fast, really frequently, and then I burn out like right away. And I wouldn't necessarily call my content creation a burnout. It was more, I think, I just didn't have much time, right? And then by the time I, paused on it, it was midterm season, and first college midterms, right? I don't know what I'm doing, obviously, right? And really just, I'm not sure. It's just kind of stopped the drive, and then I realized, college ain't that easy, right? In high school, I'm not bragging or anything. I'm not really arrogant or anything, but in high school, real honest, I don't remember putting in that much effort in my academics. I think a lot of the content really came naturally. It felt really easy to understand, and I guess it worked out in high school. But obviously, college is different, right? It's high-level classes. They're preparing you for working, contributing to society, and I guess I thought I could, man, I don't even know how to say this in Mandarin. 敷衍一下, or like 得过且过 in Cantonese, kind of, get things over with, I guess, in a sense, I guess. I think that's what I can translate it to. But yeah, I thought that would work out in college. Obviously it didn't, so I adjusted, and then I spent more time doing, trying to take care of school. And then I think if you look at my face, you can see got a lot chubbier. Not good. But yeah, so spent a lot more time doing other things. And then I think when I obviously again, I put my brain way too quick into this specific thing, and then, which was at this point school, right? So then everything else got left behind, right? Interpersonal relationships, exercise, I guess enjoyment and fulfillment. And then I think just throughout high school in general, also a lot of my achievements, I really didn't really view them as achievements. Like, I guess I didn't really reward myself, for anything I'd done. So I just felt like, I'm supposed to do this. I have to do this to do good in the future. And, like when I come to college, the closest family I have is, I don't know, 7,000 kilometers away, I think was what it is. And it's like, not 7,000 kilometers, 1,000-ish kilometers away. And it's like, things just kind of fall apart when, you're not under the same type of pressure from your family, especially as an Asian family. I think even though they stopped, as I got into high school, they stopped. But like even after 8th grade, because I started improving my grades on my own. Well, in 6th grade, in 7th grade, I was really bad. I skipped a lot of my work to play basketball with my friends. So then I got an academic probation. So that's when I shifted. I started caring more about school. And then since then, my parents haven't really, worried about my grades or anything. But I think that freedom also made me less aware that, I had a lot of shortcomings and I wasn't able to push myself, right? I'd reach a limit, the school, like if the school was a limit, I'd reach the limit and I'd stop moving, like the graphs, when you take the limit of them at a certain point. But I never chose to push myself, right, to break my limits. I got near the level that high school required me to be, and then I stayed there. And then I never really made myself go above and beyond. So I think, that kind of mindset put me in a spot where, after I finish my class, I give all my knowledge, most of my knowledge back to the teacher, and I kind of forget about it. And, it's like I don't retain much information anymore that I learn, I feel like. And then, I forgot where I'm going. But, and then I just feel like, the things I do, I only do them because they're required of me. It's not because I want to excel. I just got to be able to do these things, I guess. And then, so that got me messed up. And then, one of my worst things that happened probably this year was spring semester. I didn't fail province stats, but I did get a C minus. And as many know, a C or above is what you need for your major. And I have to retake it next semester. And it's not necessarily looking good, I would say, because I'm on the wait list. I'm not even on the class right now. And I think my parents have to pay extra money for the overload. And NYU is already expensive, so kind of feel really bad about it. But, obviously when I told my parents, they didn't really shit on me. Or, oops. I didn't mean to curse, but they didn't really, get all over me for, not doing that well. Because, my dad's like, he understands. He had a similar experience with other classes, which I'm glad. I didn't really feel that much pressure when he told me. But, I kind of put the pressure on myself ever since, the pressure stopped being forced on. And then I kind of, inherently forced it on myself, which maybe might not have been the best idea, but I think that's what pushed me to where I am today. So I think, a slight adjustment is necessary, but I don't think removing all pressure is the way to go. And I think video's getting long. I think that's really what I really wanted to reflect on. And granted, province stats, the teacher wasn't too good at articulating his words with English because he had a really heavy accent, and it's kind of hard to understand. It was bad to the point where lectures had less than a fourth of the people going, which is bad because province stats is quite the crucial class, especially at NYU where it's more known for business, economics, stuff like that, right? So it was bad. I did try it appealing, but obviously they said appeal was only related if there's a miscalculation in the grade. So right, it wasn't miscalculated. It was just hard to learn. I guess I tried to self-learn everything, but it wasn't really that good because I think province stats, concept-wise I get it, but the questions just throw me off all the time. So unfortunate, but a learning experience, right? And obviously no internship this summer. I wanted to do a lot of projects with Arduino stuff that I bought, you know, download the software and everything. I used to work with it with something called a lily pad, which was this things you use on e-textiles, which is electronic wearables. I don't know where I put mine. I do have one though. I brought it with me, and I used to have code on there, which I coded in 8th grade when I first learned about this stuff. So I transferred all that over to my current device, and you know, I thought I was gonna get back into it right this summer, make use of the time, but obviously 2 months gone by. I've done nothing but play Valorant and League of Legends, and then my gacha games, Genshin, Wuthering Waves, and all the other stuff. So it's been bad. I mean, lack of self-control for sure, lack of self-discipline. And the exercise hasn't been getting much better because, you know, it really doesn't do much when the food's so good here, and, you know, pretty much there's not a day that goes by without good food here in Guangzhou with my grandparents, because, you know, quality of eating is very important, right? 民以食为天, or so they say, right, in China. So that's what it is. And so yeah, it's been pretty bad, you know. I'm like fighting my own demons every night before I go to bed. I roll in bed, and then, you know, I start beating myself down for doing nothing, and then I wake up the next day, and then it's just rinse and repeat, same cycle. And, you know, I guess this video is, you know, my first step to breaking the cycle. And it's about, I think, I'll just rough estimate, maybe about a month left of actual work time where I can get to work, make videos. You know, maybe I post every day. Hopefully I post every day. That's what I want to do, starting from whenever this video posts, right? Today is Wednesday, 7/15. It is 12:23 a.m. and, you know, I hope I get this edited and posted as soon as possible. I need to set a deadline, but I'm not even sure when I have. But yeah, I had a lot of goals, man. My investment portfolio is nearing 10K. I have, you know, a set cash fund where I want to use the day trade option trading, but, you know, penny stocks and all that. But I wanted to do some options last week, and apparently I found out that I didn't have the options level unlocked yet for what I wanted to do. So now I have to go, you know, talk to Schwab, figure it out, which I gotta do that soon. And then I have a lot of stuff going on, but really it's just a lot of doom scrolling in video games, unfortunately. And I gotta get to work, obviously, on my mini projects that I said I was gonna do. And then my professor, circus professor, the one I'm close with, told me to learn STM32. Gotta get to that too. I mean, I still believe that 1 month is solid time to get things going. It's just how I, you know, spend my time, right? You know, am I really wasting it away playing games again, or am I gonna get to work, right? And, you know, there were times where I straight up uninstalled Instagram. You know, I saw it as such a big distraction that, you know, I just had to get rid of it. And, you know, I think sometimes I do need to do that to get my brain back on track. But right now, you know, I also said I wanted to make a song. You know, I have a guitar, I have a keyboard here, and my grandma has a violin. You know, that's like 3 of the main instruments you can use to make a song, right? And then you just use an electric drum on your composer or whatever, right? And then I have a MIDI keyboard that I don't know why I bought. And I've never learned music a day in my life. Everything I do was like nearly self-taught, except for maybe a bit of piano. I took a year in high school to get my performing arts credit, and then I stopped. And then, so yeah, I mean, I wanted to do all that, you know. Yapping about being the next Jay Chow. Man. But, you know, obviously didn't get much done. I click a few keys on the piano a day, and then once in a while I'll think, oh, I want to learn this song, and then I'll watch a YouTube video, try to learn it, and then put it down. And yeah, I'm not getting anywhere pretty much. But I've spent a lot of my grandparents' money, wasted a lot of time, and I don't think it's personally acceptable. And it might say summer break, but no such thing as summer break. Maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, right? When I'm working, and I thought freshman year it'd be fine, no internship, because not everyone necessarily scores a STEM internship first year, unless they're stacked as hell. Which obviously I'm not. I think I'm very, very, very average. Never thought I was that good, especially with the type of effort that I'd be putting in. So, yeah. And I thought I was going to be able to get by with simple projects I do for fun, which clearly not so much now, right? But yeah, I thought I was going to make videos, and I really wanted to make YouTube work out, pay me a little bit through whatever they have, right? I wanted to get some type of payment, so I could subsidize my trading. A little more funds obviously helps make you more money, right? If I can put in more each trade, I can make more each trade, right? And obviously I've gone nowhere with it, but I really hope I can get somewhere. But making money, I feel like, especially through trading, I think it used to be just for myself, just so I can get a head start, before I go corporate, right? Or best case scenario, I can make enough, or I know enough where I'm self-sustainable without corporate, all right? That's best case scenario, but obviously not very realistic. And I think, all right, makes sense. I think I just want to have some type of passive income. I do have some decent dividends, right? I make 1% of my portfolio as dividends, which is all right overall, right? I mean, I don't have that much in dividends, because I don't really have dividend ETFs or stocks that I'm truly heavily invested in, right? So, and I also have cash set aside, so it's not fully invested. So I'm trying to save some for options, but yeah, because I think I want to maintain some liquidity. But yeah, right now I think my main goal is kind of worried because in 2 years my sister will be in college. She's a senior next year, and then my little brother also goes to private school. He's in elementary, and it's a lot of money coming out of my parents' pockets. And granted, they might be able to pay it, but I don't think it's going to be easy. And I think obviously my parents and my grandparents, whenever I say this to them, like, you shouldn't worry, this is our job, right? But I think in my heart, as an older brother, and I think someone who's matured a little too quick to enjoy my youth, right? I think it's very important that I'm able to help out, considering how expensive NYU is, especially too, and how I'm not up to my standards in terms of performance. I think I really want to be able to help contribute a bit, especially to my parents and my sister. Well, my sister might be a little stretched because a year, a lot can happen in a year. I do think it can, but granted, I do have my own things to take care of, right? It's not always going to be every day I can hustle, try to make money, trade, do some jobs. That's obviously very hard, right? I still got school to go to, especially next semester. It's going to be stacked with a lot of classes. So, I mean, small goal, I guess, is to be able to help with my brother's school slightly, in the near future. I don't know how near it is, but I hope definitely I can. And yeah, because NYU, big chunk of money, and we do not get government aid. We're like right in the awkward spot where we don't get any aid. So I think I just want to contribute a bit, because maybe I think that's the least I can do. As I feel like I think my parents have to contribute to their own retirement, and then they have to pay for all the school, the bills, utilities, utilities, mortgage, and it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I think these past few years we've been eating a lot more than we used to, because time is tight. Maybe not money, but time is tight, and time is the superior currency, right? Money is always secondary to time. Time is all you have in the world, and obviously I've been wasting a lot. disappointing, but that's reality. And I think I just wanna be able to do something, right? And I very much think it's possible through trading. I mean, market moves every day, and there's bound to be something I can do. Yeah, I know people say trading is gambling. Absolutely not. I think I got it. And then that's why I also want to do some YouTube. I think a lot of people. I don't want to chase it as a career, but I definitely want to be able to. I want to treat it as like a side hustle where it can help me achieve certain financial goals, especially help my family achieve financial goals. Because really, I think currently I'm thinking more about my family than about my personal financial stability. Because I'm still financially dependent on my parents and my grandparents. So I want to ease their burden a bit, because as their hard-earned money, I feel like they should be able to enjoy it a bit more than dumping a lot of it, most of it. I don't even know how much into my college career. And it is important, but NYU Shanghai is obviously the most expensive choice that I had, and I chose it because I wanted to come to China, stay closer to my grandparents. And I think goal is to really make it in China, because I think I want to stay near my family here. And I do hope that I do think that I'm staying true to myself. I am a fully Chinese person. I think it's in my blood to stay towards my roots. So that's why I chose this path. I did apply to Tsinghua University, and then I got to the interview, and then obviously I blew it. So the only other Chinese option that I had at that time was NYU Shanghai, and unfortunately I didn't apply to any others because I don't know what I was doing. I was also really, senior year in high school was horrible too, man. Super stuck up. No, I don't even know what stuck up means. I was super messed up in the head, I think, where sometimes I just wanted to escape from my problems, if you know what I mean. So a lot of issues with that, but obviously I don't think that way anymore, right? But yeah, there's just a lot of goals that I haven't started working towards, but I hope this is the first step. And that's all I can think of for now, for my reflection. I just gotta do better. 0.1%, 0.01% every day is still more in the year. 0.01% better every day. It doesn't have to be a full 1%, but step by step, man, baby steps. That's what I keep telling myself. And time to take the step. So I think that's all for today. Maybe I'll talk more about how I felt when I applied for college, I think. And I think my setup for YouTube, I think I'm gonna focus on YouTube now more. I'm gonna do longer videos like this, where it's either like a full day vlog, or I'm talking like this, talking about life, and then talking about myself, and then or I'm doing the projects that I have on the side over here. I'm doing that's probably gonna be a long video, and then I'll do like clips maybe of it for shorts. And then I think shorts, I want to focus more mini vlog cooking. I still cook. I definitely want to cook more. I think some cooking videos will be coming soon. I really want to get to that. And then I really like singing. I'm not good at singing though, but so please don't hate. But I do want to do some covers. Ching Chong, which is just no background noise, just pure singing of certain songs that I like. However I feel that day. But yeah, long video, 30 minutes. I think I want to leave this one uncut. But yeah, thank you for whoever's watching. And it would help if you can share and subscribe. Man, I sound super cringe, just like those YouTubers out there. But yeah, like and subscribe and share, please help out. And step by step, I guess this is a journey to self-improvement, and learning to take steps ahead. And I think I gotta leave some of the past behind me, because think a lot of it is still very much binding the way I feel and how I am today. I think it's, you're a product of your environment and your experiences, so I think sometimes some things I really gotta let go of. It's been a rough ride maybe back then, but I hope it gets better, so yeah, thank you.